Here's a quick informal teaching for you. Started to do it as I went and walked around Gleason, but I remembered I got an important package coming today, so bear with me. The things I tell you, search them out in scripture because they're there. I'm going to paint a picture for you to give you a much clearer and better understanding of scripture. And the things what I'm going to say to you now, I want you to keep in mind, and I'll remind you of what I just spoke. For those of you that got a little bit of Bible knowledge, remember in Revelations, there was a scroll that was written in the front and in behind, and it had 7 seals on it. No angel in heaven or earth could open that seal. And remember, John wept because he saw it where no angel could open it. But he said, weep not. And he said, the Lamb has prevailed to open the seals and look upon it. The scroll that was in the hand, the right hand of the Father, Yahuwah, contained everything from the beginning of creation, all the doings, the sayings of mankind, its outcome. Basically, creation was all written in that scroll. What he would do, what I'm speaking to you now is in that scroll, the betrayals, the judgments, and everything. And the only one that was strong enough to see those things was his son, Yahuwah. And when he opened the seals. Now, keep that in mind. So the son already knows the outcome of everything. He knows your thoughts and your heart. So now let's go back to Judea, which was under Roman occupation. Romans, the Greco-Roman period, who are Gentiles, who are Satan's children. It's cold out here. I should have put a coat on. Now, to give you a better picture, Yahuwah, who was in his 30s, he was a Hebrew, or aka a black man, was clear about that from his description. He was not soft-spoken and white like the Roman Catholic Church would have you believe. Because the image of jealousy you read about, and I believe it's in the book of Ezekiel, it is the Roman Catholic Church. The same is the son of perdition, the Antichrist. Like I tell people, the spirit of anti-Messiah has been in the earth even since his majesty was upon the earth. But okay, getting back to Judea. Ancient Judea was a city, let's say like Gary. It was inhabited by Hebrews, okay? People like myself, black folks, among whom was Yahuwah. He came from a poor, broken town, Nazareth. They used to make jokes about it, just like you see on YouTube, people driving through Gary, cracking jokes, graffiti and all that. Can anything good come from Nazareth? However, the rulers of Judea were Roman. They were Greco-Romans. Okay? So basically, even then, ancient Judea was under occupation, just like our land now. Okay, so there's a passage, I think it's John 15, I don't know. Search it out. When he said, you are of your father, Satan, which is the enemy, and the lust of your father you will do. He was talking to those Sadducees and Pharisees who were not Hebrew, but they were Gentile. Okay? This should help you make sense. You know, in your movies, you see everybody's white in the movies. That doesn't make sense. The Hebrews, to make things more accurate, if they made a truthful depiction, which that's not in their nature, they're of their father Satan, who are liars and deceivers. If they made a truthful depiction of Yahuwah, first of all, they would know his name. Secondly, you would see Romans, which are like white folks, like you see the police right now, most of them are white, inhabiting our land. You would see the Hebrews being black folks. And you would see the high priests, not black, but they were also infiltrated. They were Greco-Romans. That's why they paid Judas to betray him. Just like the CIA did somebody to betray Malcolm X and Martin Luther King. Same tactics. That's why he said, you are of your father, Satan. And then when you see, basically Yahushua offered himself up to be lynched on our behalf. They basically lynched him. You don't see that type of violence anywhere on earth outside of how Satan's children did the children of Israel. Both in Jim Crow South, how they cut off ears and body parts, various body parts, pumped our bodies full of bullets after it was hung, took souvenirs, made postage stamps. Whipped. If you see a slave's back, look at the Shroud of Turin, which is the resurrection cloth of Yahushua. They blindfolded them. This is a record in scripture. I can easily see Europeans blindfolding a black man, punching on him. They ripped out pieces of his beard. There's a chunk of his beard missing on the shroud. They whipped him with a scourge, and you see whip marks all over his body, just like a slave. They punched him. You could see where part of his eye was swollen. And they humiliated. They spit on him and mocked him. Sounds familiar, don't it? Because we've lived through it. Now it should become clearer to you. I think it was a part in scripture when he said, when some of his apostles, that he chose, said there's some Grecians that want to see you. And he got trouble. And when they came over there, he spoke and said, Father, bless my name. And they heard a thunder in heaven. And some people said it was an angel and some people said it was thunder. But they said the thunder that came out of heaven said, I have blessed it now and I will bless it again. Because he knew, the Son, knowing all things in creation, that those same Europeans, the Greco-Romans, as it's written in the book of 2 Maccabees, would take his image and change it and make it white and change his name. Like we have today, we have your white J word. You know what I'm talking about, which was never his name. That name points to the false image, the image of anti-Messiah, which was anti-Yahushua, anti-Mashiach. That means his image, his name, and his teaching was contrary to what the name, image, and Yahushua is. So you should easily see how Satan's children are hell-bent on deception. They go about killing, stealing, and destroying. There's only one group of people on the whole face of the earth that, like a weed, remember the parable of the wheat and the tares? We're wheat. We're indigenous to the earth. Yahuwah created us in the earth. He didn't create them. They're a result of a second fall from heaven, of the fallen watchers. I've said this so many times. They're angel babies. And they're the most violent race of people on the planet. They've gone through every land, killed the men, raped the women, put their own seed, exploited the resources, stole things. And they do it to this day. The same thing you're seeing in Ukraine. And that's why all you got to do is watch the leaders of this land. And a tree is known by its fruit. You see all of Europe back in Ukraine, as long as it takes. They're promoting the same Nazism that World War II was fought. And actually Russia, if it wasn't for Russia, they wouldn't have won that. And they keep claiming Russia's looking to take over their land. Well, guess what? A tree is known by its fruit. Russia has no history of colonialism. Unlike the Europeans who took us out of Africa upon slave ships, it was the largest forced immigration of any people on the face of the earth in history, according to scripture. That's Deuteronomy 28:68. They know who we are. They occupy our land now. That's another one of the biggest deceptions on the earth, that Europeans are the true children of Israel, these Jewish people, the occupiers of our land. That's a lie. They're nothing but colonialists. They're Satan's children, as is written in Revelations 2:9. He say, I know your tribulation. He's talking about us. Tribulation began when we were chased out right after the crucifixion and resurrection. Think about it. We were already in Judea under Herod and Pontius Pilate, Greeks. Okay, after that, they burned down the temple and all this other stuff. Think about it. Just like they burned down, what's that city in Oklahoma? and bombed it and killed niggas, they did the same shit in Jerusalem and Judea. And they chased us out to the outskirts, killed us by the sword, put a siege around Mossad, same tactics that you see today. So that should help give you some insight. Our land was being infiltrated under occupation by Satan's children even in Yahushua's day. They handed them over to the authorities. But those people that was in the high priest and in the temple then, they wasn't Hebrew Israelites. Nicodemus was a Gentile. That's why he said you must be born again. That's why they paid a Negro, a Hebrew, which was Judas, or Judah, which would have been his Hebrew name, to betray him. You know how white folks do. Because if they were Hebrew or black, they would have did it themselves. So, and when you see the brutality, they put a crown of thorns on his head. They blindfolded him, mocked him, spit on him, beat him, plucked out his beard. Shit, that's like a lynching, man. They whipped him. And out of how long we been here? Out of all this time, you ain't never seen one movie that gave you a true to scripture depiction. They'll depict even the resurrection man on the shroud as a white man, in which he wasn't. They'll show movies, Jesus of Nazareth and the King of Kings always being a Gentile. And Yahushua knew this. Satan's children are liars. Just like Cain turned over the dust over his brother's blood. They try to hide and rewrite history. You see them doing that right now in Ukraine. They're trying to erase the fact that Russia was the chief ones to fight against Nazism. That's why, and the United States are the architect. And NATO, the CIA, before the little horn Trump got in, were the architects of this Ukrainian war that could have easily led to World War III. They would try to take the whole world out before they give up power. But that's the truth of the matter. I hope this helps you because the images you see on TV is the image of the beast. It's made to speak and all that stuff. Movies. Hollywood is a big deceiver. They show you this image and if you see an image and a lie long enough, it'll sometime implant an engraved image in your head. And you would think that our Redeemer looked like that, but he didn't. He was much more harsh in his speech. He was a man of color, dark. He had a ruddy, dark skin and complexion. And they literally lynched him. So keep that in mind. The next time you see these movies, you read scripture. When he said, you are your father, Satan, he was talking to Gentiles. And that's literal. Those are the ones that when you read, when he said, I never knew you, depart from before me, you lawless workers. Iniquity means lawlessness. Those are the Satan's children, the tares. He didn't create them. If he didn't know them, he didn't create them. He created us. He foreknew us before the foundations of the earth. We're in his book of life already. But you can be blotted out for disobedience and rebellion. They were never in his book because he didn't create them. But they can be written in if they listen to a natural branch. And see, even the angels didn't even know what was going on in that book. But the Son of Man, the vine and the root, reveals those things to his prophets, which are Hebrew men, Israelite men. So we're the only ones, according to scripture. That's why all the books of scripture was written by his elect, the prophets. He revealed, like Deuteronomy 29:29 say the secret things belong to Yahuwah, but those things that are revealed in the earth belong to us and our children. So keep that in mind. I don't care about the shit. I don't care whether if you believe me or not, or you like me or not. It is what it is, and it ain't going to change. The end is almost here. Our redemption is almost near. And those who he didn't create will be judged accordingly. Those who were born again by a natural branch, they may be able to reside in the kingdom in the courtyard, but they will be the tail and not the head. With that, I wanted to tell you this. I would have did it while walking, but like I said, I'm waiting on a pretty heavy piece, and I better be here to get it. So, got any questions, reach out to me. Peace be with you. Shalom.